In a noisy, stressful world, quiet is the most valuable commodity. And the cabin of every Lincoln vehicle is designed with this principle in mind. Should you desire a little more melody, our available Revel audio system will not disappoint. The very same engineering that makes for a whisper-quiet interior provides a studio-like setting in which to rock out to your music, finding harmony all around you. That's the power of Sanctuary. And that's Lincoln.
Revel and the Revel logo are trademarks of Harman International Industries, registered in the United States and other countries.
What is up, guys? I'm Dusty Grant, the host of the DG and Friends podcast. I'm excited to take this ride with you as I get to know interesting folks from all walks of life and pick their brains about their journey. I'd like to sincerely thank you for tuning in. DG and Friends starts now. What is up, guys? Episode 16, DG and Friends. I am here with my man, Ed Latimore. Ed, how you doing this evening, man? How's it going?
It's a pretty good evening. I got absolutely nothing to complain about. I'm warm. I'm in shelter. I feel really grateful for that right now.
Where are you located out of?
I'm in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So it's cold, but we're prepared for the cold. So unlike, I was just reading about what's going on down in Texas where they are not, and they just are losing everything in terms of the daily living and how the government's handling the situation. It's a bit of a mess up here. I mean, what they're going through is is like Tuesday up here, for 3 to 4 months a year. But they're not used to it. They're about as prepared for freezing temperatures as we are for a hurricane. Is the way I like to look at it. So.
Yeah, we've been experiencing it here. I'm in Wichita, Kansas. It has been unseasonably cold here as well. So we've had some temperatures like down into the negative 15 or so. And the company that I work for, they've shut us down and told us that there's no natural gas and there's like these huge gas shortages and everything in our area. So they're shutting down food production plants and they're shutting down production facilities and the shelves are getting empty. So we're seeing more adversity. It seems like 2021 is going to throw more at us here. It looks like.
Yeah. The only constant is difficulty. Something I've figured out is that it never really stops. What happens is you adapt and you figure it out. And I'm 100% confident, not just that humanity in general is going to figure something out, but the earth itself is going to do stuff, and this is maybe it's a good thing. They were talking all that it's not nonsense, but they were talking a lot about how the planet was heating up, and now we are doing quite the opposite of heating up. So we'll see where that goes. I mean, it's probably not a good thing that areas that are typically warm are cold, but we'll see. Florida's still the same shit. I mean,
yeah, it's been unseasonable down here. Like I just shoveled for like the first time in a couple of years, and I'm like, I moved down here from Nebraska where we were pretty used to the snow up there, but down here we don't get much of it. And I got real tired of shoveling that stuff, man. I had to shovel today, and I was like, man, I do not miss this shit. But so Steve from Fascination Podcast was wanting me to ask you. He said, "What's up?" And he wanted me to ask you how black your coffee is.
Oh man, tonight it's so black that it's asleep right now. I can't drink black coffee this late, man. I tried, it's funny, dude. This is random piece of information you just got me on a little riff here. But how old are you?
I'm 38, or I'm sorry, 39.
Okay.
I'm gonna be 40 in March.
All right, cool. So people start talking about you get older and you wake up and go to the bathroom. Here's what I found. This is what I do. The honest to goodness, because I just turned 36. Once I stopped drinking caffeine, and not even really caffeine, because I stopped with diet soda, but coffee after like 3 o'clock, and making sure I'm tired when I go to bed. Getting it like don't get up at all to go to the bathroom at night. It is great. So make sure you're tired. And make sure that you are not you stop consuming caffeine, man. Otherwise, you're gonna be in bad shape and thinking they're thinking you're prematurely old.
I've been having that problem lately, man. I'm not gonna lie. I've been having interrupted sleep and stuff, but I've been a little bit stressed out from work, and I've been dealing with a neck injury, so I'm having a little trouble getting comfortable and stuff like that too. But man, not sleeping much has me feeling pretty old right now. So
yeah, it's the worst, man. Sleep is so valuable. I certainly, that's one of the big changes, at least over the past year, is I take my sleep health a lot more seriously, because I never had issues before, and then I stopped training, and I totally didn't realize, like, one of the secrets to sleeping well is being tired. And when you're training, you're always tired, well, not always, but there's a portion of the day, you spend it going balls to the wall for 4 to 6 hours. And then your body's like, dude, that's enough for us. Let's go to sleep. Well, I didn't have that, and I've had to realize that just waking up early makes a big difference.
yeah, so you mentioned not training. Did I see you tweeting, or maybe even in your newsletter? Did I see you talking about considering taking another boxing fight?
Yeah, you did see that in the newsletter. I am considering it this year, because I went back and I did the sparring, helping Roy Jones get ready for his fight against Mike Tyson, and I was like, wow, I'm still like, I don't have a lot of damage, and I'm good here, and I can do this and train, and it felt correct. But I'll never be a heavyweight again. It's just not a thing I'm interested in even trying to do. So I said, let's see my weight, if I try and naturally lower myself, because I don't want to go to like a 30-pound cut during camp. That's nuts.
Right.
Right now I'm walking around between like 225 and 230. So I said, if I can get to like 215 and do it in kind of a natural way, like without really being a dieter, we'll see how that goes. And, I've made some changes, and we'll see. I mean, it's gradual, and hopefully it goes. But if not, the cool thing is, because I've done so much other stuff in my life, I'm at peace if I don't get to the goal.
Right.
Like it's not like I need, goodness, don't need the money. Thank goodness. Because fighting is a hard way to earn a hard living. I don't need to worry about that, and there's enough stuff, enough projects I got coming up that are really important, and I'm fortunate that I'm in a position to where I can have an impact, without even touching gloves. I kind of paid my dues, and now I just kind of get to sit back, because the cool thing is, like, that's forever. Like, anyone can go look up, and my box record's right there. They can see how far my amateur achievements are right there. They can see I won a national title. Like those things are done, and I can go on and do other things. It's not like I have to live in that.
I've been having a strange epiphany lately, dealing with an injury. Now I've never fought professionally or anything like that. I'm friends with some guys that fight pro MMA and stuff, and I've been a jiu-jitsu guy for a little over 10 years. And as I'm getting older, I'm learning that I need to be smarter about my training, and I need to understand that I was training through this injury for probably 3 months this year, before I finally took a break, and I was like, I got something wrong. But it was that young man ego, hard-headed thing that I had. It's like, what do I have to prove at this point? I've been in the gym. Guys have trained with me. They know I've been a tough training partner for 10 years. Why am I showing up and putting myself in further danger to prove something to these guys?
Right.
But there is that camaraderie and the guys that you train with, and there's that brotherhood, and there's all that stuff that I'm missing. And I think it makes me want to make some bad decisions. But at some point I got to be like, Dusty, you're 39 years old, man. You're not going to recover the same as that 25-year-old guy.
Yeah. Not only that, but like, so for better or worse, I think one of the things that's really cool about being a guy is that guys tend to make themselves disposable. And the cool thing about being disposable is you expose yourself to more probability, chance of things going well and going poorly. I think about some of the risk I had to take just in general getting in the ring. I mean, remember that's the big one, and that's not even what I pay attention to. I pay attention to the times where I had to, skirt the law to get to practice when my driver's license was suspended, or I had to fight without health insurance to practice because who knew, right? These are the risks, you take, and we tend to think about what can go wrong, or you can think about what can go right, but you don't get a chance for either of those things if you don't do anything. And I thank God, that's why there's more. There are more male CEOs and more male high level accomplished pianists or whatever. But there are also a lot more men in prison and a lot more guys in the homeless shelter. Right. that's kind of how it goes. You either make or break, and that's part of the male DNA. And it's just, it doesn't, the DNA doesn't go, I'm 39, let me chill out. It goes, let's get in there and fucking grapple, man. Let's get after it. That's how it's going to be. But at some point that you have to weigh that against what you gain versus what you give up. It'd be one thing if you were a world-class dude and this was kind of how the bills are paid.
Right.
Okay. If it's just a hobby, you got to remember, man, don't mess up your full-time money on some part-time dumb shit. That's not a good idea. But God, we got to fight that urge.
Yeah, I've been fighting it, and it's been 4 months off for me now. I've been experiencing some stuff. I'm a guitar player and a musician, and it's been affecting that, and it's been affecting my sleep, and it's been affecting me at my job and stuff like that. So I hate to say it, but it does have me reconsidering, what I need to do to keep my body healthy, because I'm at a point now where I'm not really able to do much, and they have me kind of waiting until I get an MRI to find out exactly what's wrong. So I'm not able to do much for exercise at all. And man, it's driving me nuts.
Let me tell you a story. Just so you get the idea. It's nothing to feel bad about. When I took a year after I lost my fight in 2016. My first pro fight, horrible. Not first pro fight. My first televised pro fight, lose that, and then I fight one more time in December of 2016. And I take the year off, right? I take the year off. I focus on finishing my degree and dealing with these injuries. I had started tutoring now. My writing is finally making a little money. Like at this point, it's like, I said I'm going to take the year off to finish the one thing, and then I made so much progress in other areas of my life. It was like, do I want to go back? But I still wanted to go back. It was in, right? January 1st, I said, that's when I'm going to step back in the gym. I step back in the gym. I train my ass off for like 5 months, and I get injured sparring really bad, too. I had to pull out of a fight I had set up. My comeback fight was supposed to be in New Zealand. And I was still excited. I said, I'm going to heal from this, and I'm going to come back. But in the meantime, I had established myself as a tutor for some kids, and I was going up to do tutoring. And I remember sitting there with one of my students trying to do this basic thing. I studied physics in college, and this was basic freaking algebra 2 or something. I was having trouble remembering how to do it. And I said, and then that's what did it for me. That and the concussion pains, and I was like, this is crazy that I'm having trouble reading. That was the other thing. And I said, I'm making a great living on my mind now. And so what is the trade-off? I can scale my mind infinitely. Not infinitely, but I can do a lot more with a lot less energy with my mind. Boxing, I got, 10 good years. And that's if I don't get hurt or beat to a pulp or something like that. And for me, that's when the choice was easy to kind of step away and focus on other parts, because it was looking at the two competing interests. It was, okay, I have all this I can do with my mind, on my writing, my speaking, right? Product creation. Or I can go train freaking. I mean, realistically, at the height of camp, we're looking at 4 to 6 hours, and not just 4 to 6 hours on the clock. Realistically, it's like 8 hours on the clock when you put in, when you factor in the studying and the training and everything like that. But in terms of active, probably about 4 to 6 hours. Do that and then go fight for what's peanuts, like last year, every month I made more than I made at my highest, my highest payment day in fighting, and that's all from up here. And it's just the trade off you have to make at some point because we don't live forever, and our bodies certainly don't perform at the highest level forever. And at some point, you just gotta go, that's a young man's game.
Yeah, it is, and I'm coming to terms with that, I guess. And in the same way, I have focused a lot more on like learning about promotion and learning about how to market yourself and learning more about branding and stuff like that. And building this podcast. These are all things that I've done during my downtime injured, and I'm starting to really find a lot of passion to do these things. So it softens the blow for me a little bit to know that I have something else that I can put my energy into. But at the same time, I still need to figure out a way to not get fat too. I don't.
That's the hard thing, man. I posted a picture. When was this? When did I move to Portugal? It was 2019, the beginning of 2019. I came back from I brought the year in Quebec. I love Quebec City. If anyone ever gets a chance to go, it's the closest thing to Europe we have on North America. And I came back and I said, wow, I've been traveling a lot. I'm getting fat. Relative to I'll never get too fat, but
Right.
but it is awful. And so I had to learn how to be healthy without being a professional competing athlete. And those are two different things. When you're competing, like I'll tell people, man, dude, I never had to think about what I ate. I didn't eat poorly because I had a coach who's very into nutrition. On top of that, I'm just kind of into it too. But I wasn't like super strict. For example, sometimes I'll leave practice starving. I'll stop off at the grocery store and get a whole box of Ritz crackers, all 4 rolls, and eat them before I get home, and then have dinner when I get home, and had trouble keeping weight on. You can't do those kind of things when you're not trained like a pro athlete. So I had to figure out, how to eat and how to work out consistently, but not at that high level of intensity. And when I do get a chance to, go do some sprints and stuff like that, but for the most part, required a mind shift change, and I had to take my body. I was up to like 235. I got at 235, and it's at 17% body fat. You still kind of look okay. But you don't look like you take your shirt off. You don't look like a guy that's in shape, But I got myself down to I think 220 before we moved. I was over in Europe, and Europe is completely different because the food over there is people don't understand. This is like for all intents and purposes, we don't have real food.
Yeah.
I mean, if you cook it yourself, you'll be okay. But eating out in restaurants and stuff like that, even something as simple as the bread. Here's a crazy story. This is not false. You can look this up. I guess Subway was trying to expand into Ireland, and the Irish government ruled that Subway could not sell their bread there because it wasn't. I can't remember, but the TLDR, it ended up looking like it was too much like cake than bread.
Yeah.
And it was crazy though, because when I think about the way I ate, like living in Portugal, the way I ate combined with the fact that the cities are supremely walkable, my body weight naturally readjusted itself. You have to make it a lifestyle no matter how you do it.
Yeah. So what took you over to Portugal? What were you doing over there?
So my fiance is actually a Portuguese citizen, right?
Oh, okay.
And so one day, the cool thing about this lifestyle is I'm completely location independent. I like to say semi-passive because I still have to do work and put stuff out. I'm not like living on investments, but I'm very much location independent. But it doesn't matter where I'm at, as long as I have the internet. And even still, even if I don't have access, I have enough set up to where I still make, I probably would be okay if I couldn't do anything for 30 days. somehow I disappeared. I wouldn't want to do it, but I could. But anyhow, yeah, I said, we went over there. We from 27, the new year of 2017, or rather the new year of 2018, New Year's Eve of 2017, that transition period, we spent in Portugal, like 4 days in Lisbon, 3 days in Porto, and I said, and I remember very clearly the moment where I was like, we're gonna come back. I woke up in a hotel in Montestoril, which is right outside of Lisbon. Between, if anyone's familiar with this area, listening, Cascais is where a lot of the Brits go and hang out. Right outside of Lisbon, like you don't really need Portuguese. You should know some, but you'd be okay. And I remember waking up, looking at the ocean, and I was like, okay, we're gonna come back here. Great country. And so 2018. It was figuring out, working out plans, kind of improving my position in general, because I did all the math, assuming that I'd be taking care of both of us. Well, what happened is, you got to make sure everyone makes sure you pick the right partner, because these things make a difference. She had been, ever since I met her, she had been involved in travel. She like a travel agent, sold travel and stuff like that, and then her business really took off in 2019. And so in 2019 is when we moved over, and it was incredible because I took off in terms of income as well. So did she. And so I said, all right, we're gonna move over there and hang out, and kind of figure this thing out. And the plan was perhaps relocate permanently, but we felt it out and decided because it was the first time there, at least for me.
Yeah,
long term, and I had to figure out some things, but I really enjoyed it, and I know what to do when I get back, and when we get a chance to go back, because we left. So first of all, when you're not a citizen, and I'm not a citizen, she is. Anyone can go to the EU. You get 90 days without a visa, and then depending on the country you're in, you can apply for a visa waiver. And that'll give you another 90 days. And so that's what I did. And eventually I had to leave. Right now we left a little early because of everything that happened with COVID and some stuff that kicked in with our travel insurance. So it just made sense for us to leave early. But it's a really great place. I really enjoy being there. I like, if you don't need a lot you see, it's weird. My relationship with what a lot of money has changed. Not because I'm like I'm some rich guy, certainly far from it, but because I think someone said that, like, once you make $75,000 a year, you no longer may gain any real bit of happiness from any additional money you earn.
Oh yeah.
And I think, I don't know if I agree with the exact number, but the general idea that there comes a point where most of what you do on a daily basis, you don't think about, right? Like, I don't think about going to eat. It's just either I'm going to go eat or I don't, and I kind of mentally no. If I show up in the menus, they want $200 for steak, I'll be like, yeah, that's not happening. But I don't go places like that. You kind of get a budget worked out for your lifestyle, and if you're close to it, over it, under it, and in Portugal, the budget for living is so small because of lots of reasons, but. It's just a great place, and but quality food, lots of sunshine. Lisbon is the sunniest capital in Europe. They said 300 days of sunshine.
Yeah, my wife's from Nicaragua, and I go down to Nicaragua with her, and the food down there is just incredible. You're right, man. You can't get food like that in Wichita, Kansas. Like it's
no way. You know why? Because America's the great capitalist economic beast, and I'm a big supporter of capitalism and everything it does. I'm a success story of what capitalism can do, but capitalism is like salt. Like, you can put it on anything, and a little bit of it really does improve the flavor of any dish. Too much of it ruins it. Too much of it too long, and you start to get chronic problems that break down the host. High sodium is linked to how many ailments that ultimately cause chronic deterioration. Yeah, we're kind of like that in how capitalism is used and put out there. So we have, so everybody thinking, we'll take like General Mills, for example. They own all the cereal. Put that in air quotes. Man, that shit is nothing but sugar, man. Like, and why? Because that's cheap, and people, it's cheap to make. You can mark it up to a decent level and still earn a good dollar, and it's addictive. So boom.
And it's easy to sell the kids in commercials too.
Oh, it's insane. You know what? One of my mom, and it was out of us being poor, so I don't want to make it sound like she's some kind of nutrition freak. But we had Cheerios and cornflakes. That was a cereal. It was Cheerios or cornflakes, and it wasn't really cornflakes. It was some shit that was generic. It was it was like the main like Kellogg's.
Yeah,
it was like the off-brand shit. Like they had the most generic name and color. Like they couldn't just let you know you were broke. Like it had to be like off, like completely off-brand. I remember when we were on back when it was the I can't remember what it was called. But it was the food assistance program, and we would get these cans of food, and it would be something real simple, pork, like no branding, no nothing. It was a great can. I always remember because it was just so fucking bland. It was a great can, and in black writing, pork, and it had and the most decorative it got. There was a picture of a pig, but it wasn't a picture. It was a black outline.
Like a silhouette.
Yeah, it's just a silhouette, and it just said pork. That's the kind of shit, you eat. So like when people tell me eating healthy is expensive, I'm like, you ain't really looked at how much money you spent on this garbage because.
Oh, yeah. And you don't get any like nutrient rich any of that stuff, and like it's like I'm always hungry. It's like because you're eating garbage.
Yeah, let me tell you something. That's one of the things that I learned. Now, fortunately, I didn't have to learn this to kind of correct bad habits. I just stumbled on some good ones along the way, and it was educational. But one of the reasons that we have such an obesity problem, particularly in the United States, is because our food is so nutrient void. There's nothing in it, so our bodies are still like we need to eat more, because we're lacking nutrient, and there's no nutrient. But you know what there is? There's a lot of fucking sugar,
preservatives, yeah.
And your body goes, oh man, this is great energy, but we don't really need it right now because no one exercises. So you store it, and that's one of the big problems that I've stumbled into, just kind of looking at nutrition and comparing how we eat to other countries, and like it's just it really is amazing. Like I think about the things that I missed because now we've been back. We were just talking about this on the way home about an hour ago. We've lived in this apartment now. In April it'll be a year we moved in. So and then we left in March. We spent like 3 weeks in Florida when we came back over to the United States. And to this day, still one of the things I miss. There are some, just great places, great food, low cost, and it's good. Like it's quality because here's a country where a lot of stuff is grown right there and shipped. Yeah. Like here's one of the biggest scams we get in the United States. Fucking organic free range, right? It's a huge scam because it's okay. First off, it's not really a scam in the sense that there's nothing different about these eggs. Because if you look at the difference, when it's organic and it's like a real free range chicken, man, them shells, man, you could break glass with them motherfuckers. It's crazy, because the chicken is healthy. But in Portugal, all the eggs are brown, and hell, there's no organic. They're all like that, right?
Yeah.
And they're cheap. It's not like it's $7 a carton. The craziness is the same. It was like €1 and some change for a dozen eggs. It's good quality eggs.
And like we go down to a place in Nicaragua called Little Corn Island, and you have to take a boat from an island out there, and nobody's ever driven a car on the island. And you go there and you throw your cell phone in the bag, and it's like, it's over. We're not going to even know what time it is for the next week. But you walk around on the beach there, and you walk around in all the restaurants, everything is caught right out of the ocean the same day. There's barely any electricity, and the food is amazing. You feel better. You don't have to eat. You don't have to eat more. You don't have to eat a lot. You just eat a little bit, and you're like, all right, let's go walk. All right, let's go explore.
And you feel it's good. And then on top of that, you get the culture where you're going to walk around afterwards, and you're going to feel alive, man. It's a really good. It's different. It's so different, and I wish more people got to experience what it is. And it's not like you just go to another country and the shit's automatic. I mean, you end up in Somalia. Good luck with that shit, right?
Right, of course.
But no, you gotta pick some place that has like different laws. For example, I looked it up while we were talking. Well, here's exactly what it was. I'm going to read it. Irish court says bread isn't bread. Ireland's Supreme Court ruled that Subway bread shouldn't be classified as bread for tax purposes due to its sugar to flour ratio.
So it's just nothing but sugar.
Pretty much. Yeah. That's telling. They basically, but this is what we're up against. Okay, that what is acceptable here.
That's eating fresh here.
Right, exactly.
Is it not? It's eat fresh, right? Subway eat fresh.
Another dude, I had a friend of mine. He was posting about his vacation, and he was down in Mexico, and he was like, "Man, the soda down here just tastes different. It tastes better." And it's like because they use real sugar and not a high fructose corn syrup. And he looked at it, he was like, yeah, the ingredients, right, and that's the big deal. Like there's a lot of things.
Dunkin' is here to help keep you up and running, Philadelphia, with a free medium hot coffee Monday through Friday, once a week for members only. So grab a cup of the new Explorer batch with smoky dark berry notes that's an adventure in every sip, or give a try to the new Dunkin' Midnight, a richer, intensely dark roast with hints of chocolate. Get one free medium hot coffee once a week, Monday through Friday for members. Join the Dunkin' app today. America runs on Dunkin'. Exclusions apply. Participation may vary. Limited time offer valid through January 29th.
New Extra Charge Hot and Iced Coffee from Dunkin' is made with 20% extra caffeine from green coffee extract, because we could all use a little extra this year. Whether that's an extra boost, some extra boldness, or the drive to go the extra mile, we're extra ready for whatever comes our way and extra excited to take it on. Let's get it done with a medium extra charged coffee from Dunkin' for $2 with 20% more caffeine. And pair it with snackable stuffed bagel minis for an added all-day boost. Order ahead on the Dunkin' app. America runs on Dunkin'. Participation may vary. Limited time offer.
It's not that they can't use it. They just they have a quota, and they decide to use it for other stuff.
Well, yeah, you go. You go. I mean, my wife's like, you need to have a real Coke. And I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, in a bottle with real sugar.
Right.
Get a Coke. And they brought me a real Coke with a straw. And I was like, this is Coca-Cola. This is the real Coca-Cola. You got to
pop it with a bottle opener at the top like it's like a damn Corona. Like, it's the real deal.
It's wonderful, man. I if people don't travel abroad and they miss those experiences, man, you gotta get out. And like, we went down to Brazil, and we try to travel as much as we can, and like just tasting the foods and seeing the culture. I think a lot of people are scared to go out of the country, but
it'll give you perspective.
Yes,
which is something that is sorely lacking today, because all We'll take the pandemic. I put out a tweet earlier where I was just curious about everyone's experiences in different parts of the country because of our glorious federal system, federal and state system. Not every state there's no federal mandate. Right, so let's hear it. We hear about the horror story of California and New York, right? We know how that lockdown is going, but the rest of the country, it's varying. Because I was curious, like here in Pittsburgh, gyms have been open. I went to the movie theater. I saw Tenet in theater. I've we've been able to eat indoors at restaurants for the whole time, with the notable exception of they shut things down for the 2 weeks during Christmas, which is a vertical attack, to make sure, because they figure everyone will be out, but that's
Right.
their idea. And so we have, and my point is, in that case, we have variants within our country.
Yes.
And it's easy for you to get myopic and think that is everywhere. That's just your view. If you're in California, the rest of the country's not like you. In Florida, the rest of the country's not like you. It's variants. Compare that. Somebody get chimed in from Scotland, and they were like, everything is closed. Church is closed. Non-essential. Non-essential. Basically, you can't go. You gotta go shopping. Gyms shut down. Restaurants, all that. Right, and a lot of Europe is like that. So it depends. It just you get a great perspective, because I'll say this, and I'm one of the. I'm not a particularly vocal critic of a lot of the United States. But after having spent a decent amount of time abroad, not just living but visiting now, or not just visiting but living now, I'm very aware of our inadequacies, and I'm not. I never swallowed it, but now, instead of just thinking, now I know viscerally the American dream is not what it's cracked up to be. With that said, there ain't many other places that are overall better for someone who wants to be socially mobile. Like the Ed Latimore story would be very difficult to have in, let's say, France, where they kind of figure out where what you're good at, and that's the track you're gonna follow through school. Or I was born in a favela in Brazil. Good luck there. Okay.
What's better?
All right.
Yeah, you wonder what's better. Sometimes people make choices and they make the wrong choices. It kind of goes back to you saying, if you don't take the risk, you're never going to find out, good or bad.
Exactly.
But yeah, I think a lot of people here take it for granted how much lateral movement they really do have, like you said. And did it surprise you that there was not more of an emphasis on trying to help the country just be healthier overall when the pandemic stuff hit? Because something that shocked me is that when is somebody going to come on the news and say, guys, let's mix in a few vegetables, maybe take some vitamin C, let's go for a walk, let's try not to be fat, let's try to help our immune systems, let's all try to get healthier overall so we can be a team and try to get past this shit. There was none of that.
One of the things that I noticed a long time ago, I won't say a long time ago, but you remember back in it was like 2016, like 2015, 2016, Europe was getting their ass kicked by the terrorists. Like that was, and I only remember it was that year because I remember the exact moment I was on the fence, and I don't care about politics, but I do like the strategy and it goes into it. And I remember the exact moment I said, I don't know if Trump's going to win, but his opponents are going to have a very difficult time defeating the stance that he's building his platform on. And that was the attack. I believe it was in Nice, or no, it was the Ariana Grande thing. That's what it was. So I was like, when they blew up the stadium over there in the UK and shit. Okay.
Yeah.
What I figured out at that moment, watching how we responded here when people said things, negative or not, or true or not true, is that you couldn't say anything bad about about who did it. And I'm not talking about, now granted, yeah, you don't want people to go off the handle and start talking all people from the Middle East and who are Muslim. No, you don't want to do that either. That's not correct. With that said, you also can't make it impossible to criticize the terrorists. When we do that, we do that in everything. Like you watch the news. And whenever they don't mention the race of the shooter, then it was black. We know that, and it shouldn't be that way. But I look and I go, okay. Whenever there's a mass shooting, Like there was one in the Navy Yard. I was like, they didn't mention his race. Ah, shit, right? And then you just know, okay?
Yeah.
And then they do that, so you can't criticize the thing that people are sensitive about, even if that thing that people are sensitive about needs criticism. And to sum this up, I said, we ultimately do more harm than good when we're more worried about who we offend than who we protect. Okay, and that's where we're at. So I say all that to say this about why there wasn't an emphasis on health, because here we are in a country with an 80% obesity rate.
Yeah.
That's pretty much closing your eyes and turning around the direction and throwing a stone. You're gonna hit somebody and piss someone off. Okay.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, man, have you seen the people who we've put in charge of health in many places in this country? I think people have, unfortunately, a very large tolerance for nonsense, right?
Yeah.
But and they're not really playing the game, but they're in the game, and there are some rules they understand and don't understand. But what they can't do, they can't tell us. Rachel Levine, right? I think that's her name, right? They can't tell us that they can't have that person come and tell us to exercise and be healthy. Because people are going to see that message, see that, and they're going to hear the message, and they're going to see the messenger, and they're like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" Like it's just not going to be effective. It's going to do more harm than good. I don't think that's why they did it. I wish the government had that kind of insight, right? But in terms of, however they get to the point where they're like, we're not going to discuss the elephant in the room, which is the comorbidity rate. We're not talking or the comorbidities and how many of those are preventable. We're not talking about the ones that are preventable, right? I'm not talking about old age either. Those things, if you got some shit, you were born with a congenital defect or a congenital issue, that's an issue, right? If you are old, that's an issue, and you're a vulnerable population. But the people who walked into that by their health choices, and those constitute a large number of people.
Yeah.
Well, if we talked about that, that would change the combo. But that would change how we do everything. Imagine the messaging that they've got to manage now when they say, okay, just be healthy. Just be in shape. Because you know what the media does? The media jumps all over it. Every time someone dies who is not in the vulnerable target group, they jump all over it. They paint that motherfucker like a martyr, which is crazy to me.
Yeah.
Right? Perfect health, 35 bodybuilder, and just went on, or she was imperfect. I'm like, yeah, but like that's recency bias, and that's not cool. Like they're playing on bias to make a story and to scare us more. When in reality, just a little bit of facts. That's all people like. I would like to think that humans can deal with facts if presented in a non-abrasive manner, right? For all of
and that's a hard thing for me, because sometimes I would just rather hear, Dusty, you're being a fucking idiot. Change this. Sometimes I would rather hear, you know what, you're making it this big convoluted thing, but you need to get your shit together and figure it out. And when somebody says that to me directly, when someone sits me down and says, hey, I'm worried about you, you need help, I listen to that. And I don't.
You know what's crazy? That's rare, because what the average person does is they hear that as an affront. They hear it as a piece of offense. They're not ready for it. Or they know and they're not ready to do the work to deal with fixing the situation. You'll lose a lot more friends trying to help friends than you ever will actively trying to mess them up. And it's crazy that it is like that, but that's how human nature is.
It's sad. I experience it a little bit with sometimes people, I'm sure you have it all the time. You have people asking you for free pointers. You have people asking you to do what you get paid to do for free.
Yeah.
I'm sure you get a lot of that, right? And so when I'm approached with that type of thing in my situation, it's like, okay, I've done the work to do this. That's why you're coming to ask me why, but you don't want to do the work yourself. So what good is the information I'm giving you if you can't execute on it?
Right.
You have to do that grind. You have to try it and fail. You have to learn and modify. You got to lose a fight and readjust your life and figure out, where you're going to go with your next step. And no one can do that for you.
One of the things people talk about, can I be a mentor? Absolutely. Can I be can you mentor me, this, that, and the other? And I need to write this post, like how to get a mentor. And one of the things I've noticed, the people that are going to take the advice and use it, they don't need to be told. They're like, one way or the other, they're going to figure it out. All your intervention is going to do is speed the process up, right? But the people who ain't going to take it, there is nothing you could do to make them take it. Like nothing. It's crazy. Like nothing. Some people, you're old enough to where you. The cool thing about being in your I guess now at this point, not late. I'm not in my late 30s, technically 36. I don't know. My birthday was just
late
Monday.
30s, brother.
So
I'm late 30s.
Trying to figure out from there. But one of the cool things about being this age is that you're young enough to know you're young enough to look relatable. Like people in their 20s don't talk to me like I'm an old dude, even though some of them were not born until I was in high school. Right? Not when I was an adult. Yeah, not yet, but not until I was in high school. Okay. But you're old enough though to be able to reflect, because you got 20 years since you've been making like this real autonomous decisions almost. Okay. And at this point you're able to like look at some people who just, they needed to listen to somebody, and somebody maybe tried to offer them unsolicited advice. I have a cousin who, he's ruined. He hasn't ruined his life, but it's so far gone that it's barring getting hit in the head and waking up one day and going, okay, what the hell have I been doing the past 20 years? Nothing will help, right? And every time you give him advice, it's always I know, and it's like, well, I can do something with it, right, man? But never, and nothing changes. And this is the kind of Gato who never asked for advice. Never. You're always giving it, but somebody who asks, you're not going to hear I know. What you're going to do is you're going to see them in 3 months, and they're going to have done that, and then someone will be like, all right, man, what else you got for me? That's the difference, and so it's a sad situation to see. But generally speaking, the people that need the help the most are the ones who deny it most adamantly.
Yeah, and I mean, it's hard. For me, it's hard to admit that I'm wrong. It's hard for me to admit that I've got a problem or I've got something that I need to deal with. That I can't be ignorant to the fact that part of the issue might have something to do with something that I've done or said or a behavior that I've displayed. I try to think about that. I'm certainly not perfect in any way, shape, or form, but being aware of it and knowing, hey, these are the issues that might get you upset. Maybe you should think about how you handle these things differently. I don't know. I kind of wish more people did some of that introspective stuff, because I think if people were a little bit more effective on the way they communicated their feelings and a little more direct, we wouldn't have as many issues as we have. Because a lot of times I'm the type of guy, like I'm a big dumb animal, right? I need you to tell me direct.
Rally your friends. The Caribbean is calling. Bacardi, Meek Mill, Leslie Grace, and Boy Wonder have remixed the Latin classic Conga. Search now on Pandora and SoundCloud. Bacardi, do what moves you. Live passionately, drink responsibly. 2021 Bacardi. Is trade dressed in the bat device are trademarks of Bacardi and Company Limited. Bacardi USA Inc., Coral Gables, Florida. Rum 40% alcohol by volume.
Correct, Ed. What am I doing wrong, Ed? Tell me. If you're giving me passive aggressive cues or you're giving me these like subtle hints, it's going over my head.
Right.
I'll tell people, I'll be like, just tell me, hey, dumbass, do this, and I'll do it. It's just, I don't know. I guess a lot of people have trouble with criticism or constructive criticism or anything like that. And I'm certainly not innocent of that, but I don't know. It seems to complicate things.
Because all we hear is, criticism. We don't tend to hear the constructive part. That takes a lot of training. we hear the criticism initially because it's this thing. We're doing a thing, and if we didn't ask to be corrected or get the feedback, that comes out of nowhere a lot of times.
Yeah.
And then we hear and it's like, whoa. And even if it's constructive, like taking criticism is an art, man. Like I wish everyone just could be like, you know what, I just gotta chill out. Like, no, you gotta be like trained to get your emotions out the way. There's no real easy way to do that. It's just being open minded and trusting that the people who talk to you want to make you better, and being, what's the best way to put this? You have to hear it. You have to pay attention to it all, but not give credit to it all. Because sometimes there's a grain of truth in criticism that's meant to slice you down, and other times the constructive criticism is way off. It's more introspection. More introspection is involved than I think people give it credit for, and you just have to be willing to. You have to be willing to take what's given and work with it.
Well, and I remember a conversation that I had with a manager, back in the day when I was starting my career out, and I had a manager that was like, his method was to just crack the whip on me, man, like to scream at me, yell at me, embarrass me in front of people, whatever it was. And I'm the type of person that does not respond well to that. I just took the guy aside and I'm like, I just need you to tell me directly, this is what I need to do. Just tell me direct feedback. Tell me what I need to do. Tell me what I'm working with. But nobody's going to be harder on me than me. And I'm not sure everyone's like that. I can't speak for anyone else but myself. But sometimes if I've made a mistake in my job or in my personal life or in anything that I do, I'm the first one to be aware of it. And I've already taken it on myself to go, okay, that's an issue. You've got to fix that. You've got to correct that. What can you do to make this right? So I don't need someone beating me over the head with it all the time, but I think a lot of people may need that. And then when they do get that, I think it might offend them or something like that. It seems super easy to be offended these days.
Oh yeah. Being offended is super easy, because to be offended, is reactive, man. And it's a unique kind of reaction because of the way our society is started to place emphasis on how you make people feel, for better or worse. I'm not the guy that'll tell you that that's all bad, but I'm certainly not going to tell you that's all good. I think there are areas where it needed to happen, and then there are areas where they should let that shit go alone, right?
Yeah.
And then the problem is they try and take a blanket approach instead of going okay, right? But that's people. We mess things up. Anyhow, the thing about being offended is that it's reactive and it's incentivized reaction. You get a lot of credit now for being a victim.
That's true,
and that's unfortunate. There used to be a time, right? But this is the pendulum, right? We want to find that sweet spot, because right now we're at the point where you get a lot of credit and a lot of attention and a lot of sympathy, and these are all things that whether you like it or not, the human organism responds very positively to this. You get a lot of these things for being the victim. Remember, there was a time though, not too long ago, it was the other end. Everybody, no matter what happened, they sucked it up. They didn't say anything. Nobody complained. You took it personally, and you were offended if someone tried to have pity for you. Right?
Yeah, like I'm tough. I don't need that. No. Yeah.
I don't know if that's ideal. What I'll say is that if I have to pick which one to err on, I'm going to err on the one that forces me to have more personal responsibility and accountability. And that is, the whole suck it up buttercup mentality. With that said, I understand that everyone's not going to be that way, but that's a big problem right now in terms of being offended, is that we've incentivized being offended and incentivized being a victim. We've made that so we've made it profitable. I mean, we've made it profitable. Did you see some of the commercials on the Super Bowl?
Oh yeah,
right.
Woe is me. I mean, everything.
Now everything is about tearing something down, tearing down anything that even remotely resembled strength in the past, and erecting things that are reactive. Everything is just one big overcorrection of the past. When I think about this from a philosophical standpoint, everything is just an overreaction or an overcorrection. You're too tough, not too soft, and what's coming next, because we're pretty much we're not as soft as you could be.
I mean, but we're
pretty. Because what is one of the things that has to come with being sensitive? That means you have to be accepting of everything, kind of by like condition. I don't want to say definition, but it's a condition. Since you can't reject anything and you can't shut anything down, close it down, criticize, then you have to accept it all. The overcorrection for this is going to be to shut everything down.
Yeah, like you're not allowed to say shit about shit to anybody,
and you want to see something crazy, and this is one of those things. It took everybody by surprise, but it's just the pendulum. We were. We'll just start with Trump, right? And the way he wielded his Twitter platform. I am not going to be the one to blindly just be like, we shouldn't have shut him down, right? Because I think it's more interesting and subtle than that. In that, like, they ain't the first time he said some crazy shit. Now that's where I'm at, right?
Yeah.
Okay, but the fact is, he was saying a bunch of crazy shit for 4 years, man. Like, let's not act like this was a sane dude, and all of a sudden they woke up and was like, all right, you gotta go. Like, no, let's not be dishonest, otherwise we can't learn from this. Okay. So here he is being outrageous. The overcorrection, we're just gonna take that shit away from you. And I dare anybody else to say something, because they purged they cut out a lot of accounts that week.
You're a guy that's got a pretty large platform on Twitter. I mean, how would that affect you if they said, all right, we're pissed at Ed Latimore, we're gonna take his Twitter away?
They're gonna just take right. I mean, and unfortunately, I'm thank goodness I've got the intelligence, and plus I don't rely on shock. But let's pretend I got somehow, some way, I got everything set up the way I got it set up now. But I'm like Donald Trump in training, right? I would probably be okay. Between my website and my email list and my IG following and stuff like that, in terms of because Twitter to me, while it's great for reaching out, it's two things. It's a wonderful sales funnel, and it is a great networking tool. But now Instagram has really turned into that for me, but it's taken some time. And my email list has been for some time, but people who think like me don't tend to, 2-3 steps down the line, don't tend to be reactive and popping off a bunch of shit at the mouth on social media in somebody else's house, right? This is how it goes. But my whole point of bringing that up is that they're just gross overcorrections. We think about where we're at right now. This is a great example in the dating market. And if you talk to anybody and look at things that are being promoted in the dating market, and I'll be specific, there is a where did hookup culture come from, and then what was the natural kind of result of that? Is hookup culture was a thing for I guess it was really becoming big right when we were in the our mid 20s, so really millennial did. All right. Prior to that, it was people trying to become married, and then it was this big divorce thing, right? This huge divorce situation, right? And so then the overcorrection to that is, let's not get married, let's just hook up, all right? Prior to marriage, previous to the divorce era, there was like, no one can leave because women barely work or whatever, right?
Yeah,
and you gotta stay and rule of thumb and shit, right? Where like you can beat her as long as it's not bigger than the width of your thumb, okay? And so the correction to that is let's have, we're not going to stay with anybody that's crazy, divorce rates out the ass. And then the pain from that point, overcorrection to the next, is that we're not even going to be in relationships. We're just going to split. So what's the overcorrection? I'll tell you what the overcorrection is. Ain't gonna be no people, and right now we're below replacement in most developed nations because no one's reproducing. See how the overcorrections just keep coming.
Yeah.
And they're more extreme and more extreme. And the overcorrection always goes in the opposite direction of what was causing pain. And when none of your solutions cause or get you closer to feeling better, except in the very short temporary, and you got to deal with these long-term problems because no one thinks, they're just reacting. Yeah, you undo everything, man. Like you see it, you see that pattern just play out in many things. That's just one place we can look at it and see it.
And I think a lot of the times the solution would be a little bit more balance. Instead of being so far over here and so far over here, maybe if this guy just moves maybe to here and this guy just moves to here, maybe they can talk to each other and maybe shit might start to work and we might actually have a meaningful dialogue. I don't know. I think everybody's too busy being offended or upset or like you said, overcorrecting to one way or another that we're not even getting the message. We're so triggered that we're not even absorbing the message, right?
Man, you hit the nail on the head. We're not learning. We're not learning because we're too busy nursing our wounds and then trying to prevent them. But nowhere is there that moment where we sit and go, okay, how did this happen and how can we make sure it doesn't happen? And let's actually look at it. Let's just not, because pretty much it's like being in a maze in the dark, right? You walk into a wall, you're like, okay, we know there's a wall over there. Let's not go. There's a wall this way, so that must be forward. That's pretty much right now how we're navigating this thing. And maybe we get to the end of the maze, okay, but realistically, we're gonna bump into something that ain't gonna be a wall. It's gonna be a fucking alligator or something like that, man.
yeah,
Video game reference.
Yeah, tear gas or riot police. Who knows?
It's gonna be nuts, and we will have done it to ourselves.
Yeah, I agree, Ed. We're over an hour now. Why don't you tell people how they can connect with you?
So I'm Ed Latimore, and I'm Ed Latimore everywhere on the internet. My Twitter is Ed Latimore. My Instagram handle is Ed Latimore. Facebook, Ed Latimore. You see my website, edlatimore.com. Just stop on by, send me a message, say hello. I'm unbelievably responsive to all forms of communication because I'm very grateful that people actually care about what I have to say.
Well, people care what you have to say because you're an intelligent guy and you're a laid back guy and you're very cool for coming on this show, man. I sincerely appreciate it. Special shout out to Steve from Fascination Street Podcast for connecting me with you. If you ever have anything,
Fascination Street. Okay,
If you ever have anything you want to promote, or if you ever have anybody that wants to promote anything in your network, just send them my way. I am humbled and honored, and I will get this episode edited, and I will send you links for Spotify and all that so you can share it with your people.
Sounds good to me, man. Sounds good to me.
Awesome, guys. Thank you. That will be a wrap on episode 16 with Ed Latimore. I appreciate you so much, sir. Have a great evening. You guys stay out of trouble. Stay away from mainstream media. Don't get offended too much. Have a good evening, y'all. All right, guys, that's a wrap on today's episode. Thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to follow and subscribe to the show on your podcast platform of choice to be notified of new episodes and leave a positive review if you dig what you're hearing. Guys, I would love to hear from you on social media. Let's get connected at DustyGrant57 on all platforms. All right, y'all, that's it for now. See you next time on DG and Friends.
Introducing touch-free payments from PayPal, a safe way for your customers to pay. Simply download the PayPal app and display your own unique QR code for your customers to scan. Whether you're a market seller,
I'll take 2 tomatoes and a cucumber,
poodle pamperer, piano tuner, or plumber, Signing up to accept touch-free payments for your business is easy. Touch-free QR code payments. Shop safe with PayPal. Introducing touch-free payments from PayPal, a safe way for your customers to pay. Simply download the PayPal app and display your own unique QR code for your customers to scan. Whether you're a market seller,
I'll take 2 tomatoes and a cucumber.
poodle pamperer, piano tuner, or plumber. Signing up to accept touch-free payments for your business is easy. Touch-free QR code payments. Shop safe with PayPal.